Yo, 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 everyone. What up? What up? We're here with episode 9, the first of 2022. Happy New Year to you all. Hope that you had an enjoyable start to this new year. So far, so good. 2020 started off really intense. 2021 did. There's some intense things about 22, but I don't know. I think everyone's hopeful, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, coup didn't start at the beginning of the year, so we didn't have something like that. So we're already ahead.
Yeah.
We're
Already
ahead.
Start.
This is
I remember
true.
in 2022, right, there was like the Soleimani bombing, right? And
Yeah.
and like not too long after, like Kobe passed too. Like all these
Oh,
all these intense
Yeah.
things.
yeah.
So,
Jeez.
hey, well, as long as we're working on our way slowly downward. But there are some very fun, entertaining things, getting into, what I've been passing the time with lately was with the new Boba Fett series.
Yes.
Talked about it, an episode or two ago, right? And I think it's building off the Mandalorian train. And I'm a fan of it, entertaining. We'll see what the story continues to reveal about this old time character, OG
It's
character.
Interesting to me that they didn't tap that first before they did Mandalorian. I mean, maybe they were trying to test the waters
Yeah.
about it, but
Yeah.
that's
I
always
think
been
that's
a,
it.
a character
Definitely.
that they've been interested in telling a story about. So
Well, they didn't know if they could bring him back or not. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And then when they brought him back and there was a positive thing, then everybody was like, "All right, we can do it."
Good
Right.
point.
You know
Good
what I
point.
mean?
Yeah, Kramer's reading the game plan.
The game plan. No, I don't. I'm just.
You're able to
guessing.
read lips and shit. You're just
Yeah.
like, oh,
Sounds
okay,
like
let's- Yeah, yeah.
You saw Hawkeye too?
Yeah, I've been able to catch up on a lot of things we've talked about in the past couple of episodes. That was another one. It was cool. I haven't seen that much yet, but even my mom was enjoying it, so it felt accessible for us, and yeah, had a lot of fun with it. Jeremy Renner is dope. So like we've said before.
I hear it's good. I haven't watched it yet. I've been trying to get through Loki, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
I'm a little
Loki is
behind.
so good. Have you
That's-
seen it?
No, yeah.
I gotta check
You
all
don't
that
like
out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like Joaquin is the most behind and all the stuff. I'm like second, and then I think you two are pretty
Yeah.
nice, sitting pretty at the top.
Trying to keep up. We reviewed all the movies this year, me and my girlfriend, and I was never a big Marvel fan, but revisiting all those stories, it's fun. And then the new series are really good, so it's good.
Yeah, a
And-
new one that's been hot lately is Encanto. So,
Yeah. Not a fan.
really, yeah,
Yeah. It's that's just I'm just.
I
not-
saw it. No one else has seen it besides us two.
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
I
Yeah.
saw
What did
it,
you
yeah.
think?
I just
Um,
thought it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I thought it was good. I mean, I think the music was a little bit inconsistent for me.
Yes.
Considering what Coco was great, and then
Coco
Moana was great. but-
Crushes it.
yeah, I mean, Lin-Manuel Miranda did Moana, and the soundtrack for that was pretty solid. And I think there was only a couple good songs in this one, and the other ones were kind of clunky, in my opinion. But the movie itself was cool, and I liked the idea of
It was
the
a good
movie
parable
and,
and stuff like that.
Good parable. Yeah, modern day parable.
good
Yeah, I
family
thought
story, family values story.
Very nice perspective on mental health, which
Sure.
I think is.
Yeah, I didn't think of it in that way.
Getting increasing, visibility and
Yeah.
acknowledgement, which is a good thing for everyone. But I do agree. I felt like some things were a bit on the nose with it. Maybe the music. I overall really thoroughly enjoyed it. But if there's anything I could say, it felt a bit on the nose just with some of the presentation discussion of the topics. But
Oh,
I mean,
Right.
hey,
Yeah.
you know what? I ain't doing it, so
yeah.
yeah. I'm grateful that someone is.
Yeah.
Series I enjoyed is The Witcher on Netflix.
Yes.
Nice.
It's a Netflix original.
Based off the video game, right?
Yeah, based on books, based
And
on
then
video
Superman's
games.
Oh,
The
the
Witcher,
book.
right? Henry.
Ca-
Cap-
Henry Cavill.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's The Witcher, right?
I think
I thought
so.
that was
Yes.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's awesome. What?
I thought that was
No,
Jesus.
that's a different.
That's
guy.
that's
That's-
Jim Caviezel.
Jim Caviezel.
Jim Caviezel.
Different actor.
JC, dude,
man,
come
I'm
on.
always messing everyone up. Yeah,
It's
oh,
alright,
yeah,
bro.
JC and JC. Yeah. Now I know.
Yeah, for as far as like fantasy stories, it's pretty cool. Really good visuals, really good character development. Digging it.
I've only seen the first season. I'm looking forward to the second one though. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
You know what movie I did feel was very relevant, but very, I think, graceful in its presentation of the modern day topic or the current issue was Don't Look Up. I liked, felt very relevant, and I felt like it did a very nice artful blend of mixing comedy with like the serious undertones of what the movie was about, which, well, I mean, we mentioned it in a
Mhm.
previous episode.
Yeah.
Generally a loose Armageddon sort of vibe.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Loose Armageddon, like with a lot of comedy in it.
Yeah.
And a lot of like satire.
Yeah,
A lot of
I
political
enjoyed all
satire.
of it. A lot of political satire. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Great.
So much.
Mhm. That was the other big thing.
Yeah,
but-
I really liked it.
and
But my coach didn't like it from ELAC. Like my other assistant coach, he was like, "Y'all gotta stop getting high and watching those movies." Like I was like, "Oh dang,
dang, I feel offended. I feel personally attacked. Yeah. No, but
Everybody I talked to says it's a great movie. I literally haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you haven't?
I was just
Oh,
gonna
yeah, I
watch
don't
it
want to
and-
ruin any."
So,
of
so
it,
that's kind of
but-
interesting thing because I would personally make the artistic have the artistic opinion that Don't Look Up was also kind of on the nose with the things it talked about and stuff, but maybe because it was very blatant and intentional, and that's where a lot of the comedy draws from. Then
Sure.
maybe that's why that makes it okay. But like in Encanto, maybe it felt a little bit more, just different. I don't know. Just kind of
Sure.
think about that. Depends on the genre, I suppose, right? You can use
Right.
those different elements.
No, I guess it's like that's not like really my only criticism of Encanto. Like I don't like the
Oh,
art.
for me that
like
that's what
I don't
would
like
say,
the
so.
art of it. Like,
Oh, yeah?
yeah.
Ah.
Like I thought it was weird.
I
Yeah.
thought it was cute actually, and
Yeah.
beautiful, and general, not just cute, but it
Yeah.
was very endearing for me in a
It's
lot
just,
of different ways.
Like, but there's like a lot of like stuff where I like the art, where I don't like the art, and it's still really good.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? So it's not like a necessary like
Gotta
thing for me.
continue developing the palette,
Different
Right.
styles.
Yeah.
So moving on to music, we have the Pink Floyd exhibit. Their Mortal Remains is still in town for a little amount of time.
Another thing that I got to recently enjoy was a very gracious holiday gift from my youngest bro, and so my wife and I were able to go, and she thoroughly enjoyed it. Which she's not the biggest Pink Floyd fan, but definitely has an appreciation for all the classics. And for me, I was thinking about, I feel like Pink Floyd was one of the biggest musical influences for me in high school. Probably.
Oh yeah.
I think didn't we all have like high school the quotes that like we were? I remember I was quoting Echoes in mine, and yeah. I was like,
I know people quoted Shine On, like a lot of people quoted Pink Floyd from
Yeah.
for high school for sure.
nice, yeah.
But
so-
like
I
didn't,
quoted
but-
"Long You Live and High You Fly."
nice. Yeah, so it was cool, being able to see. I think the exhibition has almost like the exhibit, excuse me, has like over 400 artifacts or something
Oh,
like
wow.
that, and a really nice display of the chronology of the band and the history. And yeah, I was a huge fan, and when I go to museums, I like reading all the stuff. So
Nice. I'm
This
going
is good.
Saturday with my sister.
there we go.
That's gonna be awesome.
Heck yeah.
Yeah,
Should check it out. It's the last week. Closes on Sunday.
Yep. Right there in Hollywood. I forget the venue, but I think I've been there before.
I hate going to Hollywood. Like I'm just gonna be honest.
Yeah.
LA
It's not fun to
traffic.
get around.
Right.
It's not fun to get around LA. Like if there was a subway system like Tokyo, it would be like nothing.
Then you could skate around
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
real easy.
If you don't mind walking.
Or you could take the rapid train to Vegas and watch Jason Derulo knock people out at the Aria.
Dude, he fucked those people up, dude. Like I was surprised. I was like, dang, he's got like some hands. Like the guy, like he rushed the guys after they were like, Usher, fuck you, or whatever they said.
Yeah.
And then he hit two of them. They were like, then this guy was like,
He
hey,
chased them down really quick too. Yeah.
hey, don't do that to my friend. Don't do that to my friend. And he just got bop, bop, right in the face, dude. Oh man.
But
Real
the
quick.
biggest question is he Usher though? He never denied it, so
we,
you know?
we never may know.
we never may.
We never
World may
know.
never know.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean that to me the response was not one like of just being upset at being name called, especially as an adult with a very easy recognition ability,
Public figure.
figure. But if his cover was getting blown,
No, but I think the thing
I would rush in and knock someone out.
I think the thing
understandable.
was not that. It was that he was pissed that he got called a bitch. Like that was it.
Yeah, because
You know
he
what
didn't.
I mean?
He didn't initially move when he called him Usher, right?
Yeah, he did.
But maybe that was him, trying to register. Am I going in or not? And
And
then
he
maybe
was
the
like,
bitch was the
yeah,
camel that
yeah.
broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
Or
Maybe that's what he meant
the
by
hate,
calling
the
him
strong-
Usher. Was
Knew
like,
what you meant.
bitch.
Synonymous. Well, then, yeah, he just called him double bitch. Then.
Why don't they just take it to the ring? Maybe they can
You know-
hook
Yeah.
up with UFC, man.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie though. I like Usher. My wife is a big fan of Usher. She has rekindled my love for Usher. I was kind of checking him out back in the day on like Rap City and stuff. When
He
that
has
was
some
more-
hits.
Yeah, he has a
Yeah,
lot of
Good
hits.
producer.
And
Yeah,
a good singer.
Great dancer, and I saw him recently perform live and doing all the moves and singing, and
He is
had a nice
smooth.
band behind him.
Very smooth.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like he looked like a UFC fighter compared to these like normal people. Like he was definitely not. Like he would get his ass whooped by UFC Jason
Sure.
Derulo. But still, like so there's a UFC at the Honda Center on the 22nd, I think, a heavyweight championship. So I know Robbie's probably gonna watch it.
Oh,
I'm gonna
big
watch
fan.
it too. So
Nice.
we'll see. Yeah,
Yeah.
what happens.
It's just interesting, just the amount of attention, anything UFC related gets. It really, it really is like the boxing of our time, the wrestling of our time. Even the wrestling's still popular. Boxing is too, but I mean, the UFC spotlight
And
is really
it's weird. The boxers make way more money
Yeah.
than the UFC fighters.
just more legacy money, maybe in it, more legacy
No,
history.
it's
No,
not.
what is it then?
Did you see Jake Paul tweeting Dana White?
Yeah, so he tweeted him a challenge, and then Dana White like responded to the challenge, and basically what Dana said was, he was like, "You didn't answer my first challenge," so he basically avoided the whole thing of the spiel that Jake Paul. But he was like, and also, if you think Jake Paul wrote that, you're an idiot because he's fucking dumb or like some shit like that. And he just basically avoided the whole thing where it's like, all it is because some fighters, they don't get to fight 3 times a year. Like some of them only get to fight once. And if you only get paid $12,000 and then you got to pay like 10% to your gym and your coaches and like all this other stuff that the UFC should be paying for anyway, the UFC should be paying for the coaches. They should be paying for all that other stuff. It's not like they're hurting for money. Like, you know what I mean? They're a big sports organization.
Right. And you're making them a lot of money as an athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're a part of the the valuable assets, right?
Yeah, they're part of that. They are the assets, right? Like
Yeah.
and like
a
his
show.
like part of his spiel was, oh, like why don't you share 50% of the pay-per-view to the fighters? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? They're the
Sure.
ones selling the freaking fight. You know,
Isn't it under 15% right now?
under 15%.
Yeah, what they currently get. So yeah, I mean that would be a huge change and a very just one in my opinion.
Yeah, all of it is like 100% well thought out and just, but like it's not gonna happen unless all the fighters are like, well, we just won't fight, but they
Right.
because they won't.
In,
'Cause
in
it's
a sort of union like fashion.
Yeah, they
Sort of.
Sort of.
but they won't do it. There's no way.
It reminds me how in college sports athletes don't get paid, but earlier this year or last year now in California, student athletes can get paid.
Yeah, actually,
It's good.
on the whole country they can get paid now.
Okay.
It's not like they can get paid from the school, but they can get paid from
The
like
profits that they help.
Endorsements?
Yeah,
Sponsorships
yeah.
and stuff.
There
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah, endorsements.
There
Like
you go,
like one of my former players from ELAC, like he's his endorsements is FTX, the crypto exchange.
Mm.
Yeah.
So he gets paid through them from his crypto, and like I think he streams and probably does all that shit.
Nice.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, good, exactly. I mean, what they do is valuable, and it's brings attention and entertainment, and if these other components of the industry can benefit, why not share the wealth? I don't know.
I
Yeah.
just don't get it. Like you like Dana White's a billionaire, and it's like he's pinching pennies. Like at this point with these
Yeah.
guys, like it's
But
like
they all
how much
do.
more money
Mm.
do they make? Like, do you really want to be the Walmart or do you want to be Costco?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, do you want to not care about your employees or do you want to care about your employees? That's what's
and make
exactly
bank
that.
and have a great reputation, and so I'm sure not dealing with the certain amount of like I don't know what the term is, but like how right now we've seen a lot of different the workforce quitting
Yeah.
their jobs, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're not seeing a lot of turnover, employee turnover.
Yeah, because the thing about it is, I'm not saying he cares about like the big guys. Like he cares about the Nate Diaz, the Conor McGregors, the Dustin Poiriers, the Amanda Nunes, the people like that. But it's the people who aren't like that he needs to care about too.
Yeah.
That it seems like he doesn't, which is like,
Yeah.
it's messed up. But well, the Super Bowl's gonna be here.
Yeah. Super Bowl 52 or 56, 52. Where am I at? I'm a couple years behind.
Yeah.
It's going to be at SoFi if everything goes well. I mean, there was some leaked information where they were looking at AT&T Center, I think, in Texas.
The
as a
thing about
backup,
it,
but they're
SoFi is they're like so like good. Like when I went to see the Stones there, like everybody got their cards checked or their things checked and like all that stuff. Like it was a good like, and like there was
Thorough.
like you have to wear like a mask and stuff like that, and then like I don't know if it was on purpose, but in our section it seemed like the people who weren't together were like 3 seats apart. So like there
Damn,
was
the
like,
Stones didn't sell out.
no.
Dang. Well, I mean, how many people can be fit?
But I was in the vet tick section.
Yeah.
like 50-something thousand people or something like that. It's a
Oh,
big
it's
venue.
a
I think
big
it's
ass
100,000.
fucking-
It's
It's over
Yeah,
100.
so-
It's
Still,
over 100.
regardless of
You're not gonna
the
sell it out.
popularity, but also maybe people are still being cautious. I mean,
Oh,
I'm
that
definitely
was
still
that was like right before Omi, so
yeah.
like people were a little like less
Like,
cautious.
yeah.
but,
The
like,
guard was down and this and that. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, no, but definitely right now, I think everyone's guard is up. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, rightfully so. I mean, this is really like the the podcast is the only thing I do that's like maskless and stuff. I mean,
Right.
I
Yeah.
always really appreciate our transparency and communication with it. We're all very aware of what each other's doing, and so I feel good about it. But anytime I leave the house, yeah, definitely masked and even with other family, and just being safe. And yeah, it's tricky times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to a Clipper game last week, and there's a lot of people with masks, but probably about 50-50. And
Yeah, like people just at the sporting events, like they don't wear them. Like it's like
Yeah.
weird.
And these these venues are in a tight place, right? Because they did deal with the shutdowns and the financial strain that brought
And those
upon.
people who work there, they need their jobs.
Yeah, they
so,
need the
like,
jobs, and I'm even seeing it, again, like as a competitive gamer, when now that the offline, they call them the offline tournaments are coming back, and they're big, majors, offline majors, and multi-game events, weekend long events, and people are talking about, hey, with Omicron, I'm concerned I might cancel the flight, and hey, the TOs, the tournament organizers, should be closing down the venues, but that's not. That's a tough position to put them in, because if they close down and there's no city ordinances that are pretty much saying, hey, yeah, you should close down, they're losing out on that money.
Right.
Yeah.
And these people aren't,
capitalism doesn't
yeah,
stop.
Which I would say the owner of the arena or the owner of the teams should step up and pay their employees who work there because they can.
yeah, but these events are contracted.
Yeah,
and
but
stuff,
yeah.
they're
Oh,
not-
I
they're not
understand
They're
those
not at the
things,
same
yeah.
place,
Yeah.
every time and this and that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, it is a tricky situation, I mean, yeah.
Did they postpone the Academy Awards? I think they were like rescheduling the Golden Globes or something like that. And
Yeah, I've heard of other events. There was something at the end of January too that they were considering, to just reschedule and stuff. So yeah, it's definitely coming back, to as an option on the table now. For
Right.
many different things.
so, in other news, we have the trucker from Colorado who got resentenced.
Oh yeah, Rogel Aguilera. He was sentenced to over 100 years for basically his truck. He lost control of his truck, and it was an accident where he killed 4 people and injured others. So he was found guilty of 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, and his sentence was reduced from 100 years to 10 years after a lot of outcry from the nation.
Yeah, I think that's fair because
Yeah, I'm happy to hear
if it's what the people think, and like even if like most majority of people didn't, doesn't mean it's not right for him to like be treated humanely.
But I'm glad the outcry, necessitated a reevaluation of the situation. That, at the very
Exactly.
least, I think everyone can agree that was a great thing.
Right,
Yeah.
and it's also going to offer a reevaluation of those laws, which is something
Why
that
he was there in the first place, right?
Right.
And that they
Yeah.
weren't being able to serve concurrently.
You can just imagine all the other people that are in a similar situation as him
Right.
that we don't know about.
And so, what was the vehicle that sort of the judicial vehicle that sort of changed the sentencing? Was it like the governor, or was it?
It was the governor.
judge,
The
or-
governor,
Okay,
yeah.
cool, nice. All right, justice being just.
Yeah, so speaking of justice, Ghislaine Maxwell
She got
Yeah.
sentenced.
locked up.
5 of the 6 counts, right?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. I mean, not cool. I wish it never fucking happened,
No.
but at least justice is being served.
She's gonna get it.
Yeah. Again, let's just hope that no more, guards fall asleep, or cameras,
Right.
all of a sudden need random maintenance or
Right.
shut down, this and that.
I think we found out all we need to know. I mean, do we need to know anything else? Like, I mean, what's funny is I was seeing these memes and they're talking about, oh well, if the black book gets leaked, then no one will be able to work at CNN or the Democratic Party anymore. And it's like, do you really think that that's where the conspiracy, like it's the Hollywood liberals who are abusing children? Like all these people are, missing the big one. Do we not hold religion accountable for the most systematic child abuse that we've ever seen on planet
Yeah.
Earth?
Yeah.
Not
Other
only
people are
sexual, but
implicated.
mental and emotional.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy because people go, to this big giant conspiracy, and you go, oh no, it's a lot closer to home than that.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it's just that's the cognitive dissonance at work, and them trying to sort of just justify in their mind that them concerning themselves with the Hollywood elite that are blood-sucking, child, traffickers, this and that.
Yeah, Tom Hanks. I'm supposed
Yeah.
to believe he eats babies, right?
Yeah,
Worship
a lot
Mohawk.
easier to believe than that the people and the institutions that they, invest so much spiritual, mental, emotional well-being into is actually, very imperfect and unfortunately has a history of not owning up to their shit.
Right.
Yeah, perfect opportunities to just really display that, practicing what they preach. And, I guess sometimes you got to preach to the choir too.
For
You know?
sure.
Yeah.
2022, baby.
Here we go. Flurona.
Flurona. It makes sense, at the end of the day, these viruses, their intention is to live and so if they're killing off their hosts in a way, then that's it for them, right?
Right.
Yeah. So for them to continue on, and it makes sense that now people are and in ways that's what we were saying about Omicron, right? That it is more transmissible, but it's less lethal on in general.
Yeah.
Still, with that being said, we're still seeing a lot of hospitalizations, whatnot. But yeah, I mean, we're just seeing it evolve.
The thing
It's
that
trippy.
I've heard that is like troubling is that I was like listening to the doctor who was on Joe Rogan, and he was saying the thing about like mRNA vaccines is they can sometimes lower your T cell like
Count.
count or like strength for a little while, and then you have to wait. And the thing about the new Omi is that like if you were just barely getting the vaccine, you like waited till this long to get it. And then the thing about it is the vaccine is a different antigen is obviously used in the vaccine because it works on the original
The
alpha and then the delta too. So Omi doesn't have that antigen on it, so that's why people are getting more affected by it.
Right. It's crazy. I mean, the hospitals are starting to surge again. My mom works at Hollywood Presbyterian, and she's talking about how like a lot of people in the nurses are getting it now, and they hadn't gotten it before, and they're getting it now because of this cross pollination, and then everybody's getting too comfortable now.
Yep. Cases
and,
are up.
Even though you're vaccinated, you still got to wear a mask. You still got to be cool. Wash your damn hands.
I think that we've seen the amount of cases surge even past what they were at this point last year.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy. And actually, I was just talking to one of my buddies, and his brother works within the military, and that he was saying that he's been seeing a lot of movement with U.S. like naval base or ships or whatever, sort of mobilizing, and I guess just kind of wondering like what's the implication of that? Maybe that may be used as a place to house people if hospitals get
overwhelmed again.
Overrun. Yeah. They just don't have capacity, and just it's just interesting to kind of observe and to think about.
We're not out of the woods yet.
No,
totally not. I mean, just it's crazy that it's already been a year, since that really big surge, January of 2021, and so much has happened since then. But in some ways, we're also right there too.
Right. So other health news, Keanu Reeves donated a substantial portion of his, I guess what is that? Not salary, but his income from the latest Matrix movie to cancer research.
Keanu the God, man. Yeah, he's the God, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
The chosen one.
Yeah, truly, man.
Really is the one.
there's a lot of people who do stuff like that though. Like
Right.
you don't get their due. Like if you go to LeBron James High School and you graduate, he'll pay for your tuition to go to University of Akron. It's not Harvard, but you know what I mean. If you go to his high school, at least your college is taken care of if you graduate.
That's beautiful, and I think that it's to acknowledge one is I hope not to diminish from the others, that
Right.
we have a lot of room in our hearts to give gratitude, acknowledgement.
There should be more stories like
Right.
that.
There should be.
Unless TikTok and Instagram posts of celebrities saying, "Why don't we reopen already?
Yeah.
Why don't we reopen? People are gonna die."
The thing
Oh,
about
well.
it is like they can just not like throw caution to the. I mean, they can throw caution to the wind because they can just throw ivermectin and everything at it that they
the
want.
Joe Rogan
They can
experience.
throw whatever they want at it and they'll be fine. That's
That guy,
that's
I'm
why
so-
they want to
I-
open.
I'm so tired of hearing Joe Rogan talk about this shit. I really am. I'm not going to listen to him talk about fucking how
'cause the thing about it is-
elk liver and fucking going out and taking a jog is going to do more for you. When that guy got so scared when he got corona, he threw every last dime he had on every last experimental bullshit thing he could to keep himself from dying because he was scared shitless.
Yeah.
Like, and don't tell me, like, between all the hormones and everything else, you're smoking fat cigars. Get the fucking shot, dude. Shut the fuck up. Do what's right by your listeners and your viewers and be a good example. You know, come on.
Yeah.
I'm tired of that shit.
There's enough misinformation out there.
It's just tough because, man, you know, and speaking of anniversaries, right? January 6th actually marks the 1-year anniversary of my dad's passing. We lost him to COVID, and you know, just thinking about the opportunities we've had since that, you know, since January of 2021, and to know that there's enough people that aren't taking advantage of really the privileges that are afforded to us, you know, being in the U.S., access to healthcare. In a way, even though it's still imperfect, but many of us that do have access to it, access to the vaccines, for example, still missing the opportunities. Yeah, it really hurts, you know, and that's kind of a big part of what's still perpetuating the pandemic, right? Is that there's been inequitable distribution of vaccines from country to country, and so yeah, you know, very sobering.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, just so what I was saying with the guy on Joe Rogan, he's vaxxed. The doctor.
Robert Malone, is it right?
Yeah, he's vaxxed.
Yeah,
so he's
Of course.
yeah.
I
Joe
remember
isn't, though.
he was no, Joe isn't, and but Robert, you know, it's funny because my brother was talking to me about it, and that, you know, hey, like I'm not saying that this guy's knows everything, but I want to, you know, consider what he's proposing, especially because he does have a certain proximity to the mRNA vaccine technology and research.
Yeah.
And so
That's the kind of doctor he is.
Yeah. And so you know, it is interesting. Yeah, it's just I mean, it's good to have those conversations.
Well, like the thing is, what he's saying, his point was that he's not saying don't get the vaccine. He's saying you should take precautions whenever you do anything medical.
Right.
Because you have to consider yourself and like everything into it too.
Yeah.
Like he's not saying that it's like not majority for
But people,
everybody.
I get that, but I mean, people treat it like, you know, the majority of people have this adverse reaction when they take it. It's like, no, the science is there now. You know, it's like we were worried. I was nervous I don't like doctors. I don't like needles. I just did it. You know,
Very
it's
American.
like all of this. You know, well, you know, it's a decision between you and your doctor. It's just like you're not getting chemotherapy.
No, but the thing's
you're
different.
not getting dialysis. You're getting a fucking shot, dude. Like
You're young, so that it's different than like Jimmy Dore got. Now he has long COVID because of the vaccine. So like, and
because of the vaccine.
Yeah, he got it. He got
Has that been
That's not the, I mean,
verified?
the prevailing
the causal relationship is that?
No, I don't know if he got it from the vaccine
right,
or
because
not.
the prevailing
but, like, he
opinion
got it.
has been that a lot of people who have taken the vaccine, who have gotten it before, have actually regained a lot of things that they lost, like sense of smell and taste.
Here's what
Some people haven't.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have long COVID from beforehand, and it never fixed it. But you know,
Well, here's what I think. What happened is he probably got the vaccine while he had COVID, and it just made it worse.
Right.
That's probably what happened.
Which would be a minuscule.
It's not.
amount
It's not. It doesn't happen to
view at
everybody.
large.
But like
Right.
But what I'm saying is he's. How old's Jimmy Dore?
Right.
Freaking like 60 something.
Sure.
So you have to take into account yourself.
Right, and there's always a bit, you know, I mean, there was adverse reactions to some people, or for some people with the polio vaccine, and a lot of different things. So it happens, but the prevailing
thing is it works.
Yeah, and that's
So
why
that's
people
the
like
thing
treating it
about
like
it,
it's
yeah.
well, you know, that's a, you know, it's not life, it's literally life or death, not life or death. You know, like come on, just take it.
Yeah.
You know?
And just the part that trips me out is the consistency and sort of the metrics again that are used to assess what direction they lean when they'll say things like, okay, yeah, sure, I see that the vaccine works for most people, but I've heard of when it doesn't. And, you know, they cite that and it's like, but, you know, if you're going to give so much weight to sort of the outlier events, you know, why don't you give that same acknowledgement to, you know, those people that have been, you know, impacted so heavily by getting COVID, right? Even though, yes, a great majority of people do recover this and that, but how many people lost their lives,
Well,
or
the
the
thing is,
hospitalization
you can
and
still
the
get it,
impacts of long COVID
three
repercussions.
times. Like,
Yeah.
you can still get. You could have got all the variants and the vaccines and everything. Like, you've just been unlucky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
You'd have a lot of natural immunities in that case.
yeah,
on top
you
of the
would,
vaccine.
right? Yeah.
And that's the thing is that happens in life, but also I think the realization people get to make is that, like, if there's ways to mitigate the amount of loss that happens along the way, why not do it? I mean, because, all lives matter, right? I mean,
Oh,
if they all
no.
fucking matter, why don't you fucking get
Yeah.
fucking vaccinated?
That sounds
man?
like something
wear the-
that
you know?
Marjorie Taylor Greene
Then
would
wear a
would
mask.
tweet.
I hate that I brought that up. I'm
Right,
sorry.
a mask, but like just at least a mask.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
Marjorie Taylor Greene was suspended from her Twitter account was suspended this week.
To quote Trump, bye bye,
Good
bye
riddance.
bye.
I mean, I'm not for the banning of people on Twitter. Like, I think that's for me. I'm not, because
Depends on the scenario.
I mean, it's such a wild west because I mean, I think people say, well, hey, we gotta regulate.
It's their prerogative.
Funny how the people are so anti-government overreach and saying, hey, we gotta have ways to regulate. We gotta have ways to regulate the private industry that is social media. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and there'll be proponents of it then. Right, and but on that same token, also it's unprecedented seeing how public figures now have access to their not only their constituents but the world at large, right, with social media as well. So, it's a wild west in many ways. So I don't know.
I don't know if politicians on Twitter benefits anybody, and I'm talking not only Trump but AOC too. I don't want to see another tweet from her. I would like to see a piece of legislation get passed with her name on it.
Here's the
then
thing.
I'll be
What
impressed.
I say about that: don't follow her then.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Well, I mean,
yeah.
that's the thing, though, is that, like, if you have a voice and it's amplified for people who are in politics, and
Yeah.
that allows for more division than sports or something like that,
Yeah, but it's only division in Twitter, and how many people use Twitter? Like 22% of the population.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's,
In America, yeah.
Yeah, so like, I mean, to me, that's like, I don't want to say statistically insignificant. 22%'s a lot of people, but
Right.
like,
Well,
and then you
unfortunately, that
have to
small
see it,
minority
too.
controls the majority of the political conversation. That's the
Yep.
problem.
Yeah.
always it's the vocal minority, right? In so many different realms.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, hey, if those people, if the majority won't get more vocal, at least in meaningful or reasonable ways, I mean, then I guess you can't, you have to put some blame on yourself.
Freedom
Sure.
of speech is important, but I find it interesting that it's usually the right wingers that are complaining about censorship when censorship really affects liberals or people on the
Well,
left
that's
more.
what I think. It
Well-
affects the people on the left more. So
Yeah.
I think I remember reading this. It was like some data-driven study. An article was posted on it that more people who are self-identified left-leaning politically are often get more sort of like representation negative
Oh, yeah.
representation in media.
silence.
What
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying is,
Not silence,
what's
but just
to
negative
stop them
representation.
If you let them, then they could just start pick and choosing what to ban and who to ban and this and that, because it's their private business, and that's
Sure.
a slippery slope.
Is that what Web3 would eventually become? Is not like the big this one big entity like that, like let's say like
Yeah.
Google is pretty much,
Yeah.
and like
Mhm.
and like it's more offshoots depending on
Yeah, more
geographical or
Yeah.
or self-identified.
It'll be like like,
affiliation and
the way I think of it is like, do you guys remember how this is gonna like date it to make us really old, but like how the internet started?
yeah.
and it
Dude,
wasn't.
I was just
it wasn't
talking
like,
to Bobby about
it was
this
like
yesterday.
AOL,
Web 1, AOL, right? Web 1,
Ethernet,
yeah.
like all that. That's how Web3 is gonna be at first, something like that.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
First Al Gore
yeah.
created it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the .com bubble, man.
Yeah,
you can't,
military
you can't,
investments. The internet actually got started way before we were born. The network, just to not date us, by the way.
yeah.
But yeah, so Web 1 and then Web 2, kind of what we have now, right? And then
Yeah.
and then Web 3. So maybe would we see more of that? But if you're selecting the provider of your
So,
internet
like-
experience, I guess you're okay with what they allow or don't allow.
Yeah. I
Maybe
mean,
to a
by
certain
their
extent.
by your
As a company, there should be a responsibility. So maybe not going out all out and banning people, but people who are amplifying certain positions definitely should have.
well, why
Yeah,
don't you just
certain-
delete their tweet? Why do you have to ban them? Just delete it.
Because
That's a
after
good
a
point.
while, if there's a pattern, then
Yeah.
it's time to go. And if it's that
Yeah.
prerogative, like you said, it's a private company, not,
Yeah, it's not fucking the
It's-
United States free speech. I'm just for free speech everywhere.
right.
So
But yeah, I think it's like it has to be the whether something gets deemed as bannable or not should be assessed on a case by case basis. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, more jobs, hey, that's great, you know. but I mean, yeah, I think if you're seeing a trend, I mean, also it shouldn't be like a form of babysitting. I mean, just get your ass off that shit. I mean, and go to Getter or something. You know what I mean? Which is funny because although that's Trump's social media thing, right? That which Nunez, right? Devin Nunez announced his resignation as being a rep, California rep, right? To work as a dev, or what is it, like a admin or something? But anyway, it's still funny because even that website, you can't talk shit towards Trump or the devs or you get banned. So it's
You mean on
free
Getter?
speech.
on Getter,
man.
yeah.
It's so dumb.
Yeah, I hate that name too. You know, Getter.
They just copied
Getter.
it.
I barely know her. You know.
It was just a copy.
Yeah, no, it's more, tailored to those type of people. Which I mean, older individuals, and hopefully it's more accessible in that way. I mean, because technology is tough for I think anyone. I mean, sure, depending on when you were born, it's kind of easier to figure out the UIs and shit for different things.
During
but,
my studies of gerontology, because I had to take gerontology for my which is like the study of like aging and
Yeah.
stuff.
Mhm.
It's not that old people aren't capable. It's that they don't want to.
They don't know, yeah, and but also maybe what I would say, I mean, again, not backed by anything, but that because of all the nature of their other experiences and skill sets doesn't so easily align or sort of overlap with that it's just maybe more effort in different ways, at least in the personal experience that's created in trying to learn it. It's like, yeah, what the heck.
It's a different experience for sure.
Yeah. I mean, but hey, if they know how, if older generations know how to build houses better, I mean, I don't know, that's cool too. We all have our strengths and weaknesses, and I think it's part of the human condition to be like comfortable and dig into the things you do know and not care so much of the things you don't know. I mean, I think
and that ultimately comes back to the issues with social media, and that there should be some sort of control over it, because it's not like what ends up happening is people just spread bullshit.
Well, why not? If you do a tweet that's like that, you have to sit out of Congress and fucking pay a fine or something.
Right.
Shit.
It's not just the older generation that's believing the big lie.
Right.
Social media.
Younger people
right.
too.
Yeah. It was a funny tweet that a buddy of mine made, and he pretty much said, "This year I learned," and he pretty much cited like every sort of cliched kind of like statement of like, how like a lot, like there's a circle of social media that's about like inspirational quotes and comments and hey, I don't know who needs to hear this, but yada yada,
Right.
this and that.
I don't know who needs to hear
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
Really
right. A lot
antagonistic.
of sort of like virtue signaling and
Oh, yeah.
and moral postulating, and so he kind of just stated everything. This year I learned to trust myself, and also be kind to others, and speak my truth, and don't think about anyone else. Right? Kind of just saying everything under the sun, and like, yeah, it's true. There's so much out there, and if you were to listen to all of it, it would just be a big bag of contradictions, and contradictions aren't inherently bad. I think it reflects the complexities of this life. But I mean, I think that, yeah, I mean, you have to do, I don't know, you have to assess things and pick and choose. At the end of the day, you got to serve somebody, right?
Sure.
You're gonna have to serve somebody.
So
You don't know that song.
Serve
You don't know about
somebody.
Bob Dylan, George.
I not as much as you, Kramer. Not as much as you, but hey, I'm willing to learn.
Of all songs, that one's terrible.
Jesse doesn't like that album, so
I don't
let's not
I don't
talk
like
about
the
it.
I don't like the
it.
Christian Bob Dylan.
I like
shit.
the album, but like it's not Christian music. Don't like diss it that bad.
I'm teasing.
Everyone's
got
got to serve everyone. Hey, it's all right. We can
Bob
get
in the
heated here. We
closet
love
over
each
It's
other.
not
there. Jeez, calm down,
It's
man.
not necessarily about that. I
Yeah.
mean, even though it is.
It is.
Hey, you
At
know
least
what?
the next albums were.
Yeah, you know what? It reminds me something I loved. That I really always got better and better at with my dad before he left us, is that the willingness to talk to each other and be okay getting passionate, but also remembering that at the end of the day we love each other, and we really do want the same things for ourselves, our families, community, and the world at large. But yeah, we did have different ideas of how it would be done. With enough of it, there was a lot of overlap too, even in the details, and
Sure. Well, people have lost that in general, and I
Yeah.
think that's a great notion to kind of reiterate, is that we do have a lot more in common than we don't have in common, and
Yeah.
we have to come together,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, hopefully everyone can come together on, the shit that happened on January 6th.
Nope.
Additionally,
Nope. Can't come together on that. Nope.
Nope.
Right.
Nope.
See,
Makes
point
it-
disproven. There you
Makes
go.
it seem like a civil war is coming.
Civil War. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's weird. It's kind of gross how there's enough people within the United States that are like just so eager for civil war to take place. I know that on the Leftovers podcast they do kind of mention that a lot, and
Yeah.
and I agree. It's a very disturbing sort of observation and realization, and just a glorification of like war within the self.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What's cool about that? Like
The
that's
trend
ass.
is
Shit's
unfortunate,
Yeah.
and a lot of the rhetoric around it is just ridiculous. I mean, it's pretty obvious what it was, and everybody goes, "Oh, well Trump won." Yeah, well, then why were you protesting?
Yeah.
What was the point of storming the Capitol? Oh, that wasn't us. That was the Democrats and
The
Antifa. were storming-
Antifa, yeah.
like Democrats and Antifa would ever in their life dream of dressing up like Trump supporters and storming the Capitol.
Yeah.
Like they got more important business at Starbucks. Come on, man.
and yeah, the biggest adversaries that those people have are themselves. So just kind of like let them dig their own grave, right? Bury
Precisely.
themselves.
Yeah.
So. I mean, it's interesting because I think Joaquin, you posted it right, that the post on that someone who went to the insurrection, the Capitol storming, and their son turned them in pretty much, and he pretty much went no contact with the family, and it created a lot of divide in the family, and a lot of media attention, and but even like the siblings, they're talking about how, wow, just seeing both ends of the spectrum. Your dad's a hero, your brother's a hero, yada yada. It's just
It's
man,
wild.
It's
Yeah.
sad. It's sad, and
He had already turned him in too after, he had went on the spiel about if you turn me in, you're a traitor, and you know what happens to traitors? They get shot.
yeah.
Damn.
Unless you're a white Trump supporter, then you
Yeah.
just get a couple years behind bars, and then
Such-
you're out free.
True irony right there.
Right.
True irony.
And then there was another case. I can't remember what state it was, but there was a group of not leftists but liberals who had, not predicted, but they had already been under the assumption that something like this was going to happen in state houses and stuff like that. That Trump supporters were going to be outraged by this election result, and they had gathered a militia type group, and they got a bigger sentence than the people who actually stormed the fucking Capitol.
Yeah.
How do we square that one away? I don't understand it. I don't.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I can say is that unfortunately the people that are enforcing those laws are part of one part of the debate and acting on those beliefs, which at the end of the day, if you're doing your job and you're being true to it, objective as possible, then you wouldn't be. You'd still have your beliefs, whatever, but when you go to work, right? I mean, hey, people get mad when NFL players, certain NFL players, right, voice their political opinions, even in a very, I think, cohesive, like, right, it doesn't impact the game beyond them just doing it in the moment when they're not playing the game anyway, right? So, but they'll get upset at that, but not when police, or other LEOs, just be selective about the enforcement of the laws that they're supposed to uphold objectively and without. It's not on them to interpret it, right?
No, right. Well, then, of course, when it comes to supporting actual police who were murdered and injured in an insurrection attempt, there's no
consistency whatsoever.
Where are
People
you?
that are defending cops that are shooting people unnecessarily, even innocent people, in collateral damage, like we saw last week.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They'd be quick to defend the actions of the rioters that were assaulting the police.
Yeah.
And there's no consistency in that point of view.
It's very obnoxious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember seeing some of those videos too. Just the amount of people trying to break through the early entrances into the Capitol, or I guess the Capitol, and those that were at the front lines, right, the law enforcement there. Man, I mean, just like the amount of pressure. There's a video of one of them almost getting crushed to death.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
yeah.
And then Biden kind of hit it home today, talking about how like Trump was sitting there watching TV, and according to ex-aides, and he was rewinding it, and he was watching the footage of the rioting, and there was no responsibility on his part at all as a president. To hear that Ivanka was calling, everybody was calling.
Sean
him.
Hannity,
Yep.
Ingram.
Good Lord.
It's wild, man. And it's funny because you still see a lot of resistance with one particular end of the political spectrum, sort of towards the January 6th committee, right, which is also run bipartisanly. And for me, it's like, where were the people who were so for the 50th Benghazi committee?
Oh Lord, yeah, right.
Lost of
Remember
4 deaths.
that?
Hey, well, guess what? At the Capitol, there was
Benghazi.
5 or 6 deaths related to the Capitol, whether on that day or by suicide of those that were who present during the
Yeah,
storming of the
yeah.
Capitol. 5 or 6 deaths. I apologize
Mhm.
that I don't know the number more concretely, but hey, so where's this same desire to have justice
And
be
accountability for
and
this,
accountability?
Right.
Yeah, I frustrating, very frustrating. Consistency is a hard thing to achieve in this life, but I mean, so I'm trying to be aware of it, and this is one thing I want to point out, so I can always continue to be aware of it and encourage everyone else, try and do so.
It doesn't surprise me that the militia that was going to counter the insurgency, the treason, the people that were committing treason, it doesn't surprise me that they got the law basically found them
Yeah.
because there's a history of like left groups and people of color that are organizing being overly observed and prosecuted by the FBI and the government when they're not really up to anything nefarious.
Yeah.
They're just trying to organize and
It's unfortunate
Grew up.
because ultimately it puts the public and law enforcement in danger.
oh yeah,
Nobody's safe, because
Exactly.
Yeah.
people can't just accept things and handle things in a way where you can talk to people and debate them instead of just like storming the Capitol or trying to kidnap the governor or whatever the hell they
Right,
tried to do
Michigan.
in Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
what the
I
hell?
guess it just means that we're all snowflakes.
Right.
The greatest, the best snowflakes are the ones that we met along the way.
Melt a little bit.
And
Speaking of melting,
yeah,
the Doomsday Glacier. The Thwaites, I think, or Thwaites.
Thwaites, yeah, Thwaites
Yeah.
or Thwaites,
Antarctica.
Thwaites,
Thwaites.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrifying to look at that, the prospects and the implications of.
Part of the Arctic shelf, I believe, right? Which is
Yeah,
like the part of the ice that shouldn't melt or shouldn't break
Well,
away.
Permafrost.
Permafrost, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, size of Florida, I believe, is what
Yeah.
they said.
Heartbreaking, man. I mean, and that it deteriorating has the ability to add 10 feet to the global sea level. I
Yeah.
guess in general, yeah. It's wild.
Most of the population is right on the coast
Yeah,
throughout the world.
250 million people, I think, directly exposed on coastlines
Damn.
Yeah.
Throughout the world or in the U.S.
throughout the world. I
Yeah,
think, yeah.
wow,
I mean,
wow.
yeah, really
I mean,
certain.
that's a lot of people, and yeah, all lives are important. I'm not gonna shout out the other thing again. All lives are important.
Here in the
That's what I
United
said.
States, New Orleans is going to be on the front line of
My
that,
God.
low lying on
Yeah.
sea level. A lot of places in the world, like Africa and Madagascar, they're really seeing a lot of flooding that's hasn't taken place ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely a lot of climate change going on.
Yeah, in ways that again, you can't.
That's the point of no return.
That's the point of no return that you can't say are occurring for any other reason other than anthropogenic influence.
Sure.
Right? Just the human footprint.
It's not just the cycles, the natural cycles. Those exist, but we are very, very influential
Extreme
on
with
those
the
swings
the
now.
frequency and
Mhm.
actually
Yeah.
the extremity, the depth of it. Yeah, so it's like
Right.
yeah, not a thing anymore. That argument, being blind to the nuance in that statement. So I don't know. It's just crazy because corporations still have a really big involvement in it, and
that
yet,
doesn't mean right exactly past the point of no return, but we still gotta watch our asses and
Speaking of
change.
the corporation Chevy's doing that new electric, so that should help,
Yeah,
right?
what's the
but is it manly to be aware of your carbon footprint and to reduce your contribution to it? Is that
no,
still?
it's not. You're supposed to reverse that, and you're supposed to put one of those like machines that spit smoke out on your truck
Yeah,
when you
yeah,
hit
yeah.
the gas.
Yeah.
They're gonna sell conversion kits to convert your truck back to
Yeah, yeah,
diesel
yeah. Back to the
or
good old days.
gas from
the
electric.
golden days. Yeah.
At least Chevy's trying with the new electric truck coming out, the 2024 Silverado.
It's 24. That's what I was trying to remember.
It's gonna have like 400-mile range on one charge,
Damn, that's good.
and apparently pretty powerful, like 600 horsepower.
Wow.
That's
Cool.
badass.
Can tow 10,000 pounds, which is a lot for an electric vehicle.
Amazing.
Might be a game changer.
I mean, that's good. Yeah, because trucks are gas guzzlers, right?
Yeah.
So that'd be a huge shift. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm happy to see it, and it's just to me, it just reminds me that people or it's not people. Maybe it's these damn corporations that will create whatever commercials, propaganda, right? Content that's like, hey, to impose a sort of a environmentally conscious, sustainable mandate, right? Like in California when they were trying to push, Newsom was trying to push, or even Obama, right? Just a federal mandate on fuel efficiency, right? And
Yeah.
we see a lot of the industry, yes, they have to invest in the technology, but we benefit from having cars that are more fuel efficient,
For
and
sure.
so does the environment. And
Why wouldn't you want to have more miles per gallon?
Yeah.
Like while everybody's bitching about gas prices, we're gonna bitch about electric vehicles, and right now I do think it is out of the price range for the average consumer, but the sooner it becomes available, the better it will be for everything.
But
Yeah.
I'll
It'll
also
be
say,
cheaper, more efficient, and better for the environment. And
Yeah.
what's wrong with that?
and I will also say that the issue with cost of vehicles right now is also not entirely shouldn't be entirely attributed to that. So, I mean, to me, it's like a necessary compromise to take on, but also it isn't this huge overburdening thing. I mean, right now, a big part of the increase in costs we're seeing with cars, right, and so much technology is the microchip shortage, right? So,
Yeah.
but I don't see anyone complaining about computers. You can complain about the phone in your pocket, right? So,
Right.
I mean, you'll be all right. Not contributing with your carbon footprint as well. So,
Sure. And then there also needs to be more accountability for the companies that are responsible for abusing the environment,
yeah.
whether it's an oil spill or it's
PG.
a wildfire being
Totally.
caused by downed power lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking PG&E.
Procter Gamble and electric.
Yeah, so PG&E was, basically got in trouble again. The Dixie Fire up north, a tree took down some power lines and caused a big ass fire. And it's like,
Yeah.
what, we're in 2022 now. We got to start thinking futuristically about our infrastructure because it is locked in the 19th and 20th centuries, and it needs
Yeah.
to move forward.
Yeah. And if you're gonna have
Badly.
Pacific in your name, but it's not Procter and Gamble Electric, it's Pacific Gas Electric. But don't you want to take better care of the Pacific Coast and,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and right? I mean, be proud in where you
You
where you
don't
work.
know.
Why
Who
do
are the-
these people want to? Why do these corporations so willingly want to shit where they sleep? You know what I mean?
Right. Well, who
Seems
are you
like
going to
it.
sell electricity to if the whole town burns down because your power lines fell into the forest? Like, what's going on here, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where did that happen again? The time that
Paradise, California.
Ugh.
It's
Man.
tragic. The
Yeah,
whole
a
town
couple of
burned
years
down.
back, Paradise.
And
Oh.
it sucks. And that's sort of a criticism I have towards Gavin Newsom. As much as I do appreciate his efforts and things he's done, he's not perfect. And one of the things I am critical of is his response to these companies. Like SoCal Edison and this and that. He just doesn't enforce the consequences. Which is why they're not changing shit. They're not
Right.
updating their
I
infrastructure.
feel
and
like the
and
things
this and
that are getting changed are more like directed to curb people's behavior, and I'm
Yeah.
not sure how much of a effect that will have as opposed to like tackling the bigger corporations.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like to not in a different way, sort of like seeing Abbott not want to invest efforts in the winterization, right? In the winterizing of their electric grid in Texas, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and yeah, and so right, I think I saw recently that in LA County they're trying to impose if you turn on your sprinklers or water like within 48 hours after rainfall, that you can get fined up to $500.
Damn.
Right.
Which it makes sense, but I mean, yeah, again, I want to see a comprehensive, consummate approach to this
Right.
part of our lives. And
Shouldn't people just know better? I mean,
Yeah, why do
we're-
you have to find someone for
Yeah.
that? That's dumb.
Well, I mean, you shouldn't have to find
Yeah.
someone. Is my point.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like it's
what I'm
sad
saying.
that that's
Yeah,
happening so often that it has to become a thing. Obviously there's a reason why they're doing that, and it's unfortunate. And that whole green lawn thing, recycle your water, capture it. They have programs and rebates for capturing the runoff from your roof and gutter collection.
those water barrels, the rain.
Yeah.
the rain.
And do drought tolerant things instead of planting a lawn. Maybe do a vegetable garden instead.
Yeah.
And do a drought tolerant garden instead. And it's green and it looks good and it uses less water and it costs you less money
Mhm.
and it costs the environment a lot less too.
Here in California, we're we're gonna have all electric vehicles by 2035, thanks to Governor Gavin Newsom. It's gonna be a hard transition. Hopefully, it's made affordable for regular working class people.
Yeah, yeah. Always part of the challenge is the accessibility, right? I mean, with all technology, it's just still, those who can afford it do, and they get to enjoy the privilege that comes with it. Yeah. So I'm hoping that transition into its affordability happens really quickly, but it's only with, I guess, really getting these manufacturers to get on board with it, and hoping that things ease up with supply chain links, right, with it all. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to see, and the U.S. doesn't have a good track record when it comes to our how much hard goods that we produce, and right. So yeah, it's a lot of factors at play, but I appreciate the effort towards it, and
and as consumers, we all have to do our part too. Just consume wisely, efficiently.
But I'll be very happy when corporations are also paying their fair share.
Right, no doubt.
Far away from that still too,
Right on.
Yeah. And so, man, 2022 really coming in hot, for better and for worse. And but it's something I've just learned throughout all these couple years is that we have a lot more power than we give ourselves credit for. We really are masters in a lot of ways of our own lives. We can't control everything that happens to us, but our reaction, there's many a great control, right, boys? So, and just happy to be doing this with you. This is a part of me, being in control and living a life that I feel proud of, and appreciate that you boys are proud of it, and that you at home or wherever you are watching and joining us. And so with that, I think we're coming to the end of our episode 9. Happy 2022. We will see you next week. And until then, be safe and chill.
Peace and love.
See ya.
Peace and love.
See ya.